include God in everything you do, because it won't matter how much money you've made when you get to the end of this life. You can have a lot of fun and do a lot of good with money, but no matter what amount of success you've had financially, if you don't include God in that and then you go meet him someday, I think I want to be the type of person that looks back on my life and goes, I created business, I created opportunity, I created jobs. And I did that because I was created by a master creator who helped me learn how to create on a much smaller scale than him things that have been successful.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with you today. We have a special guest here in Speak2Talk, Mr. Stuart Draper. He's from Utah, right? And we met at going to college in BYU, Idaho. And Stuart is an entrepreneur, as an investor, and he's also someone who's starting a new startup right now. And he's always building something big. So that's why it's great to have you here, Stuart. Welcome to the call. How are you doing today, sir?
So good. Thank you for having me today, Hugo. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, and for people who are listening to us and don't know you and what you do more in detail, how about you go ahead and explain a little bit about what you are about and what your mission is and what you're doing in the world today. It's been a long time we haven't seen.
Yes, absolutely. So my goal is to build entrepreneurs and baseball players. Those are the two areas of focus for me. I have a personal mission, to help over 1,000 people become millionaires. And I believe that I can do that through my podcast. I have a show called Startups with Stu. I've done some retreats for entrepreneurs that have also been very impactful in helping people find their path towards millionaire success. And then on the baseball front, I love baseball, and I've played it since I was a kid. I've coached it as an adult with my own kids, and I've recently worked on building a new baseball park called National Parks Baseball Resort at the shadow of the Tetons. So those are the things that's what I'm about today. In my background and history as an entrepreneur, Hugo, and we can dive deeper into any of this, but I'll just share briefly my entrepreneurial journey. Sure. In college, I started the Christmas light guys. We put up Christmas lights for people. I graduated college and I had 3 different jobs where things didn't work out. Very common for a lot of entrepreneurs that things don't always work out. Yeah. But my first failure was used car sales. Then I did summer sales door to door, and I didn't do very well at that. In both cases, those businesses went out of business shortly after I left.
Did you do pest control still?
I did alarms in Southern California.
It wasn't.
And I tell people, if you're going to do something, probably pest control over alarms, because it's just such an easy sale in comparison, I think. But anyway, I still was glad for the experiences, learned a lot from them. And then last but not least, I got an internship selling property management software. Oh, we had a good run, I thought, but the market kind of crashed in 2008 when I graduated, and the investors in that business pulled out. So although I was performing well individually, again, a third time, the business didn't work out and I was out of a job. Going home to Lindsay with number 2 baby on the way and saying, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't have a way to pay the bills again, but I'm going to work on it. At that same time, I was moonlighting doing Google ads for my brother-in-law. He's a dentist in Salem, Oregon. He had 3 record-breaking months of new patients. And so rather than look for another job I could get laid off from, I started my own business doing Google ads called getfoundfirst.com. And I grew that business over the next 4 years, and I sold it. And I started a second business called StuKent.com, an education technology company. And StuKent is now worth 100 times what my first business, Get Found First, was worth. Wow. And it's been fun. The revenues are 100 times as well. It's been fun to grow professionally and learn things along the way and expand my vision of what's possible. Get Found First has now been on, and it's still alive today. The business owners have done great. It's been on the Inc. 5000 list 2 times. And then Stu Kent has been on the Inc. 5000 list a total of 8 times. Wow. Inc. 5000 list is Inc. magazine's list of the fastest growing companies in America. And so that's a real feather in my cap, something I'm really proud of accomplishing in my career, is being able to build businesses that not just are successful, but that grow faster than the average business.
I love your focus on trying, right? Not being afraid of failing, because a lot of people fail because we afraid of starting, or failing as well, which is one of the main reasons a lot of people are not entrepreneurs. And so our audience has a lot of people who are immigrants, diverse communities or minorities, or as people may call it. And I was looking into some statistics as well as to about immigrants being the major engine of U.S. unicorns. It says 59% of U.S. unicorns have at least one immigrant founder with a combined value of about $5 trillion. Wow. So in the Bay Area, the number is even higher, 69%, according to San Francisco Chronicle. So there's a lot of people out there, people like me, for example, we just come to this country and we want to, indulge into the entrepreneurship and starting a new startup. I wish, a lot of people have access to you to get, all these nuggets of how to build this business, because there's another fact as well about startups. I don't know if a lot of people know that, 50% fail in the next 5 years of the business.
Yeah.
So for people like me, Stu, who are listening now to you, what things have you learned about startups to this huge amount of people that, are immigrants that start the startups? What advice would you give them as far as to how to get it started right? Because sometimes the way you start is the way you end.
Yeah, absolutely. These are great questions you're asking, Hugo. So I would say that for immigrants specifically, you have been blessed with the ability to see the opportunity that so many American-born citizens, US-based citizens, we tend to take for granted. And when I did that a summer in Southern California selling alarms, I would knock on doors and I was blown away by the size and majesty of some of the homes of the people that I was selling to. Yeah. And what I would find more often than not was these were immigrants that had come to America and worked hard. They were willing to do jobs that a lot of Americans were not willing to do.
Yeah.
And some of them didn't speak that great of English, but you know what they had? A willingness to put in the work and to try. And I remember for me personally, what it did was it made me go, wait a minute, this person that I now admire and respect for what they've built, they didn't grow up with the things I had. Yes. They didn't get the education I got. They don't even speak very well the language that's my native language. Mm-hmm. And yet here they are, having built their dreams, and they're living the American dream here better than a lot of my friends were that I grew up with. And I hope that they know I admire them, and that a lot of these folks that build the unicorns, they get all of the hype and the recognition. Yeah. But for every one of them, there's 1,000 others that have built something that does a couple million a year in sales, and it creates a $500,000 a year income. And it's a great business and a great life. And it's there. You don't have to build a unicorn to be a success. That said, this is a place where if you let yourself think that big, there is enough demand, there is enough money for you to go and do that. Mm-hmm. And I think that the investor world is interested in you as an immigrant. We are not afraid by any means. In fact, I'd say that for myself personally, I would put, there's a lot of criteria that goes into the decision on whether I'm going to invest in a startup. Hugo. But one of the things that to me matters a lot is who is the jockey. I like the horse. The business is the horse. It's a good horse. It's a good product. It's a good market fit. That's great. Who is the one that's going to take that opportunity and run with it and do well and win with it? That's the jockey of the horse. And every entrepreneur, I look at them and I go, okay, what's their education? Okay, what's their experience? Okay, what's their financial background? Do they have the means? Can they get through the hard times? Do they have the personal skills to recruit the right team? And do they have a good vision and mission? Those all matter. But I'd also say that if someone's an immigrant and they came to America with nothing, or their parents came to America with nothing, and they're trying to build on the great foundation their parents gave them, I'm going to put more weight into the equation of whether that's someone I want to invest in for sure.
That's amazing. And there's like, what would you think, someone starting a startup right now, if you were to identify the 3 first steps, what would that be? Because sometimes, when you come here, it's like you don't even know the institutions you need to go just to expand this company that I'm doing now. And I'm creating an app for the language speaking. I'm creating this podcast to promote diversity, unity, and peace in the world, as we can all come together and not just respecting our differences, but embracing and enjoying our differences. This is one of the things I'm doing. And I'm taking this to the next level, man. It's not easy. Just to put an app out there, you go with Apple, it's so complicated. With Google, it's a little simpler. So there's a lot of nuances that people come to this country, they find as stumbling blocks. Mm-hmm. But this is the thing about being an immigrant. It's not about what, like Ryan Holiday wrote, the obstacle is the way, right? I know you love that book as well. So The obstacle is the way. It's not what's going to make me not progress. And that's why they come here, because they have, I would say right? We don't have anything that says, this wall is the end. No, there's something else always beyond your country, beyond your imagination, that you just go, and there's a lot of faith behind it. So if you were to tell me, for example, I'm starting right now, here you go. For you to be successful, to start a startup, despite your grades, your attitude, that innate leadership within you, these are the steps. 1, 2, 3. What would you tell them, Stuart?
Yes. Market research is phase 1. Okay. You have to prove that there's actually people that will pay for what you are creating. That's number 1. Number 1, if you're going to go and build a business, make sure that people actually want to pay you to do what you think they want you to do. Some businesses, that's so much easier. Mm-hmm. And it's not that much of an obstacle. That there's people that have lawns and their grass is going to grow and it needs to be cut. Okay. There you've got market research that says that. But another part of your market research is how many people are already mowing lawns? Yeah. Is there enough lawns, considering that there's already 1,000 other mowing companies? Why are there 1,000? Because there wasn't a lot of obstacle. So there wasn't a lot of things in the way of getting started. But as it relates to, go ahead.
Just on this number 1 that you mentioned, that's kind of funny, because my son, who we met at BYU Idaho, he's coming back from his mission in 2.5 weeks, and that's his first business. He already has 1 customer. He's gonna mow lawns because he's gonna stay in Texas for 3 months, and he's like, "What am I gonna do? There's people's not gonna hire me for 2.5, 3 months before I go to college." So that's exactly the business he's gonna do, and there's already demand out there. So thank you so much. Marketing research. And make sure that there is demand for what you want to sell. That's so cool. All right. Sorry for interruption, but I got emotional about that coincidence.
Absolutely. No, I love it. I think for me, people undervalue market research. They want to skip the step because they believe in their heart, I know that I would pay for it. That means others would. Yeah. And you have to decide, okay, yes, people will pay for it. How much will they pay for it? Mm-hmm. How many people will pay for it? Is there a limited number of people, or is it endless? Mm-hmm. And okay, if they'll pay for it, where do I go to connect with them to get them to choose to pay for it? Like, this is all a planning phase that so many skip. And one of the reasons we skip it is because we kind of glorify this message.
Yeah.
This is the message I hear. Oh, entrepreneurs, they jump out of the plane and they build they throw the parachute on the way down to the ground. That's a terrible way to go about entrepreneurship. You can plan in advance. And you should not jump out of a plane without a parachute. You may say, here's another analogy they'll give. Oh, entrepreneurs, they fly a plane and they read the manual on how to fly it once they're up in the air.
Oh, great.
It's like, well, I don't do that. I'm never going to like get on a plane where the pilot doesn't know how to land first.
Yeah.
That's a common mistake. A reason that so many fail is we're optimists. In general, entrepreneurs are optimists.
Yep.
And in our optimism, sometimes we like to lie to ourselves that we'll just figure it all out. Everything will be okay. And it's okay to decide not to start a business. I tell people the light goes off, that's good. If the light stays on when you do market research, go for it. If the light starts to dim or go out once you do market research, that's a good thing too, because it means you're going to save yourself the heartache and misery and money lost in a business that wasn't going to work. So do the market research. And as you keep going, if the light bulb gets brighter, bingo, it's all in now. So market research is number one. Number two is, how are you going to generate the leads and interest? You have to find out where the people are and then find that source of a way that people are always coming to you. See, in some businesses, food is an easy business in some regards to start, because you go, oh, people eat. Everyone eats. Good. I've got proof in my market research. People will eat my food. Number two, I know that not only will they eat my food, but they're always going to need to eat again. So there's demand. And I know that there's an area in town where a lot of restaurants are. So if I just put up my sign, people will drive by and they'll want to buy. They'll go to, I'm going to put my restaurant in a food court. Okay, great. I have my place where they're going to come. Yeah. Right. That's a simple way to describe determining that you have a way people are going to come to you. Yeah, I had an education technology. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying the location kind of mindset.
Right. Yes. And with a mobile app business, people search for mobile apps. Where do they search for them? How do I make sure that if someone searches for my mobile app, it gets found? Yeah. Right. And what am I doing to optimize for that experience of if someone's learning wants to learn English, when they search for English learning tool in Apple or on Android, how do they find me? What am I doing to optimize that experience so I get found there? If they search on Google, same thing. And maybe it's, hey, actually we found they don't search for me, but I have to go find them and get them excited about the idea of learning a language and that I have a new, easier way. And in that case, it's that market research piece is really important, because you can learn where people are deciding to buy what you have to sell, right? Whatever it may be, you got to find where they buy or where they consider buying and make sure that that's where you go with your business, right?
Awesome.
And then once you find that that you've got an opportunity, the market research says product and market are going to be a great fit, and you know where the market goes to buy and consider, then you got to figure out how to get them to make the purchase, right? And move forward. And a lot of app businesses, as an example, they find that they're able to get free users. And then the question becomes, how do I optimize? I got these people. They're actually already here, but how do I get them to go from my free model to my paid model? What am I doing to give them enough value, to give them enough reason to say, yes, I'm going to make the purchase? How do I remove the friction that makes it so it's a one-click install or a one-click upgrade? Those are the things that you do as a business and you optimize for over time. I'll share one last thought in regards to those three things, and I'll repeat them one more time. First, it's the market research that proves there's a product and market fit, demand for what you have. Then you have to find out where that market goes and be there wherever they are. And last but not least, you got to learn how to make money and monetize that market wherever they go. You got to know how you're going to turn them from whatever they are to you in advance to a paying customer. And so if you do those three things, and with the last piece, you remember that everything hinges your ability to survive as a business on the last one, this actual sale, then you optimize for sales from there. That as long as your cash flow revenues saves a business. If you ever don't know what to do to focus on improving your business, ask yourself, why am I not getting sales, and how do I go get them? Yeah. And if I'm getting sales, how do I go get more of them? Like, optimize for that, and everything else solves itself. But if you do those three things and it's not working out, then you got to go back to phase one and do more market research. You're missing something with your product and market that's not matching. It doesn't mean there isn't a good product. It doesn't mean there isn't demand for that product, but something's missing in the product and market fit. Yeah. Right. There's something that's missing there. What is your competitor? What are your competitors doing that makes it work for them? Right. And by the way, that should have been a part of the first market research that you did. But anyway, I hope those three steps are helpful and that you find them useful as you listeners start your journey as entrepreneurs.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Stu, because like you said, you got to go back to the step number one again, and through the whole process, create that retention, with the people that they can continue to buy from you month after month. So there's one thing that I am very curious about, which is, let's say, for example, you you create that product. A lot of companies, there's this story about Chevy Nova. Some people believe that the story actually existed. Some the story did not exist. That Chevy made this model called Chevy Nova, and in Spanish, Nova means doesn't go. And then the first cars that went to Mexico didn't work, right? So people did not buy Chevy Novas in Mexico. It did not grow much, and it was a failure according to some studies. So I don't know if it's a fallacy or if it's if it's a reality. The truth is, the companies need, especially the startups, you need to create your product, understanding that this product needs to fit to different, like you're talking about market fit, needs to fit to different diversity of or people that you want to target. Do you feel like, how can a company, if it's their goal, because sometimes you don't want to be, an attraction to everybody, right? Yeah. But if you want to attract a diverse market, thinking local and acting globally, right? Or the opposite, depending on your strategy, what would you do? Like, as a startup, is that important to you? Do you see experiences where they don't think things through, different minority groups or international markets or global markets? How is that important, and at what moment should be necessary for a company to consider that? What are your thoughts about this subject, Stu?
It's a good question and a broad question. So let me see if I can find a way. I mean, I think for every business, it's very different, right? And in your business, you're very much a global business. Yeah. What I would say for every entrepreneur is you need to focus on a category where you can win first.
Your target market kind of thing?
Yeah, specific. It's specific, right? So we at Stu Kent, the last business that I started that's gone and done very well, it's 170 team members. We've helped over 1 million students in over 80 countries.
Wow.
And with that business, we didn't start with the original goal of we want to be better than Pearson and McGraw-Hill. We're going to do all things e-textbooks and beat them at the e-textbook game. We didn't try that. Instead, we said digital marketing professors, a very specific audience, are having a hard time keeping current with the industry because it's evolving so fast. And so these professors are scared of standing up in front of digital native students and teaching them digital marketing. So let's go to them and give them exactly what they need. And by the way, Pearson and McGraw-Hill aren't doing that for them. It's too small of a niche market. We went there and professors loved us right away. We went to the American Marketing Association. We knew professors were going to be there. And we said, hey, digital marketing professors, at this marketing conference, we're going to be talking about what we're building that's just for you digital marketing professors. Wow. And so at the conference, everyone wanted to come and talk to us. And all of our competitors that are serving the broader professor market as a whole had nothing that they looked at as competing with us. And we didn't have anything that we looked at that was competing with them. So they didn't see us as a threat. Wow. We were just there as the new guy that had the new thing that they didn't do.
Yeah.
And so really quickly, we were selling like crazy. Professor after professor was joining. 100 professors year 1, 300 professors year 2, 500 professors year 3. It's just boom, boom, boom. And every professor's bringing us 50 to 100 students every semester. And it's going and growing. And we're still just digital marketing. But the digital marketing professors came to us and they said, hey, we don't do social media marketing. Can you give us the social media marketing material? Can you create it? They didn't go to our competitors and ask for it.
Yeah.
So we got to build a second product that the market didn't have, and there was no competitor. So for us, and in answer to your question, Hugo, if you are in the process of deciding what markets to go after, what countries to go after, how to do things different from one country to the next, I would say, have you won in a country yet? How? What have you won with one specific audience that just adores you? You see, Kevin Plank, the founder of Under Armour, he, the global brand Under Armour that competes with Nike and Adidas on a smaller scale, but they're a valid competitor.
Yeah.
Kevin Plank said, we started with just a spandex shirt. And Nike and Adidas, if Kevin had walked into the Shark Tank room, Kevin Plank at Under Armour, if he had walked into the Shark Tank room and said, hey, I'm going to start a spandex t-shirt business, they'd have probably laughed him out of the room and said, Nike and Adidas will squash you.
Yeah.
But here's what Kevin knew that no one else figured out. The undershirt for football pads, the undershirt for hockey pads wasn't good.
Yeah.
No one had a good one. And Nike and Adidas were over there making billions on so many things that everyone needed that they weren't worried about solving that one little problem. And so Under Armour went and solved that problem so well that then they said, hey, by the way, football player, we not only have the t-shirt, we have the underwear. Not only do we have the t-shirt and the underwear, we just started doing socks. Not only do we have that, we now have hoodies and cleats. But we're building for football players. And then it was like, hey, athlete, you football players, some of you do 3 sports. We got stuff for you for all your sports now, right? And now it's like you can get your hunting gear and your golf gear, and they're in all these other games, but they didn't start there. They won one specific market. They found one group that really needed what they had first. So I would say, I mean, I don't know if that specifically answers your question, but I hope that helps in deciding as a founder how to focus.
That's great. That's great, Stu. Thank you so much. So one thing that I was going to ask you as well, Stu, because yes, you got to identify your markets. You're not going to be this cookie cutter for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to first understand your niche market, your target market, create the product for that one, and then see what happens later as you can scale the business. So I totally agree with you. I love this story of Under Armour for sure. Still, the U.S. right now is leading, right? The startup, mindset and the whole business. The U.S. is number 1 in the world. Why do you think? Because I was talking to a friend, he's like, and I think about this all the time because I've been working for someone else all the time. opening companies in Latin America for different companies. And, I start from zero. I'll get the, product registration documents, with me, and then go to the government agencies and open the corporation, register the products, open bank accounts, train the employees, start growing. Then I'm out to a different country. That was my expat experience. And then I said, man, I'm in the United States of America. This is the land of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm asking you, the numbers state that as well. This is the number one country in the world for startups. As far as the number of them, the successful ones, everything is here. Why is that? That American dream mindset. Why is the United States so great at being this amazing environment for startups to flourish? I was working with some guys from the Middle East, and they're like, "Oh man, I can get an Apple account, open to launch an app." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, I'm in the Middle East. I don't have access to that. I'm like, "I do know that you have access." And he's like, "Well, I want to open an American corporation because that would be easier for me." I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know. I'm still struggling to do my own thing here." But a lot of people, for many reasons, they want to be here and say whatever they want. But this is a country that fosters and promotes this mindset. And people like you, man, you blessed because you caught that awareness much earlier in your college years that people like me, I'm in my 50s now, my early 50s, and I'm starting to be like, wait a minute, why am I working for all these people, making them make so much, impact and growth and money when I can do this for myself? So as a lot of immigrants, they need to also retrain themselves that probably the socialistic and communistic way they live in these countries, when they come to the United States, the migration of the socialistic way of thinking to the capitalistic mindset also needs to change. Yeah. But once you change that, you need to take advantage of this environment because the tools, even like me talking to people at church, I'm like, "Hey, I'm starting a new business." They're like, "Really? This is so awesome. I can help you." I'm like, "Really? How would you help me?" "Well, I can do this for you. I can do this for you." I'm like, older ladies still, they're waiting for me to launch the thing because they want to sign up. I'm like, how am I going to teach these ladies, how to, speak a new language? They want to learn a new language because they love entrepreneurship. Tell me a little bit more about that culture. And I don't know if you know why, but what thoughts you have about the US being that nest of startups?
Well, I think a lot of immigrants find it hard to get a first job in the USA. And so they decide to create their own job opportunity through entrepreneurship. I think that's a part of what happens. But also, we have a very simple system to open a bank account, a very simple system to register your limited liability, your LLC in a state.
Yes.
And it can be a single day process to get insurance, to have your article of incorporation and your bank account. You can do that all in one day, and you can do it for a few $100s, right?
Yeah.
So it's very inexpensive. But I would tell people, especially young budding entrepreneurs, whether they be American or immigrant, don't worry about the paperwork.
Yeah.
First, do the market research. Second, see if you and if you already have a product that's like a minimum viable, meaning an MVP, a minimum viable product, the first version that someone could use, or a service that someone could pay you to do. Don't worry about all the paperwork yet. Yes. Just see if people will pay you to do what you want to do for them. Or to make for them what you want to make for them. Whatever that is, see if you can get some revenue generated. A lot of people, I think, are afraid of, taxes. I'm going to be in trouble if I haven't done all of the paperwork.
Yeah.
You won't be in trouble for a very little bit of time and money put into testing if you can sell something. Okay. And so I highly recommend and this is kind of backwards feedback from a lot of other people, but I would say, don't worry about the bank account yet. Don't worry. You can, in America, we have something called self-proprietorship. Mm-hmm. It means you can work for yourself under your own name, and you don't have to have a business in place to do it. So start making some money and prove to yourself that people will pay you for what you want to do. And then go worry about the details of the legal contracts, and you need to get a good attorney if you're going to have a partner. But you can go before you worry about that and just see if people will buy it. If I were to give you a step 4, that's the step 4. And it's maybe more like a step 1 in market research phase. If you already have a product, is just see if someone will pay for it. Like, how many sales can you get? So, I'll give you a cool example of this. When I started GetFoundFirst.com, I had I had a dentist that let me do his Google ads for free. And he had 3 record-breaking months of new patients. And he was like, dude, Stu, I know you can get other people that will let you do their Google ads, other dentists. I'll tell them too that they should hire you. Then with Stu Kent, I called over 100 professors, and 60% said, I teach the subject, but I hate teaching it and I don't like what I have to teach with. I'd love to look at what you have. The other 40% said, we don't teach anything yet, and it's because we don't have good material. So I created the material that I knew they needed. And then in this latest business, so this is something I'm very excited about that I'm working on. I've created something called National Parks Baseball Resort. It's a 240-acre development of baseball fields and living quarters for baseball players and coaches to come near the national parks, Yellowstone and Grand Teton, to play baseball. I don't have everything in place yet. The fields aren't done being built. The housing isn't done being taken care of yet. But guess what? I created what's called a pencil me in fee. So teams have paid $100 deposit to get to come next year on the date, the week of the year they want to come, and with the mascot for their team that they want to be. They lock those 2 things in for a $100 fully refundable deposit, okay? The cool thing about that is that I now have $900,000 worth of pre-committed sales. Yeah. Before I go and make the millions of dollars of investment into the fields and the housing. Wow. I did that with a good website, some AI generated imagery, some email marketing, and some social media marketing. I did all of that with less than $30,000. I have $900,000 of pre-committed sales. And for me, it's all a market research phase. That's all in proving I really should do this business. Now, I'm further along in my career. I've done other things that have been successful. It's getting easier for me. And I promise for you as a founder, if this is your first time, it'll get easier next time. It is hard. Push through, find a way. But you can get sales going early and find ways to get creative for the first sales that you get. You need those first sales. It gets easier after you've proven there's a revenue stream.
That's amazing. This is basically the pre-sale, right? The pre-sale strategy that allows you to create, right, that revenue before the time. That's amazing because that helps you to have more cash flow. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and let me give you an example, Hugo, for your business.
Yeah.
For you to create an offering that says, we're building this, and this that will help you learn English, and our guarantee is XYZ, right? Okay. Now you say, and when we launch, the price is going to be this. Mm-hmm. But if you are an early founding member that pays for a year of usage in advance, we're giving you a deal at 80% off, and it's only for the first 100. Yeah. Okay. You've now given yourself a way to prove that there is demand and people will pay, even if it's at a mega discount from where you hope to be able to make money.
Yeah.
it proves that people will pay for what you have and they do want it. And it also helps you prove that you know how to find where they live, where they go,
Mm-hmm.
and that they will actually decide to buy.
Yeah.
And if it's a really good, if there really is that kind of value and it really is a good offering on price, that first 100 will go fast, and you can decide as an early founder entrepreneur, hey, maybe I extend it. Maybe I do a secondary founder group and that group gets 50% off, and we see how that does. And you're just going to continue to build value, add value each time you go as a business, to the point where you just say your price, it is what it is, and people know there's value and they're going to come pay whatever the price is.
Yeah.
Right.
Justin, our friend, just opened this new company. That was his strategy as well in the Founders Club, and it's a great strategy. Stu, you're touching something very important now, and I have this thing to ask you as well. So pre-sales is a great deal for your company to capitalize and get ready and learn about the customer's habits, how they perform, how they're using your product, and figure out as well some of the things that you need to revamp before the launch date. This is a way to capitalize your company. What is the other ways that people can find to invest in, to find the investment to launch their company? Is that because you talked about the bureaucracy part of it, which is limit, it's like it's so small compared to other countries for sure. You talked about how to capitalize with pre-sales and pre-launches, and now is there other ways that you can use to capitalize or to find investors for your business in the United States?
Yes. So a beautiful thing about that pre-sale phase, if it works, is it gives investors faith in the entrepreneur and in the business.
Yes.
It's like, oh, with just $8,000 of ads, Stu, you were able to get $900,000 worth of customers.
Yeah.
First off, they're probably going to say, you don't need me. Why would I invest in you? You don't need me. It's too easy.
Yeah.
But for a lot of, and then you have to explain, well, the thing is I have to cash flow until when they actually pay me that 900,000. I have my reasons. I still need your money. And they'll go, well, great. I know that once you have my money and we let the cash flows happen later, I'll be able to get return. Entrepreneurs excited, investors excited. It works.
So where do you go? Like, what do you go to find these people, like the angel investors and all?
Yeah.
Like, people can use even Shark Tank, like you mentioned before. What are ideas? I know that, they can search, but in your experience, you don't need to mention anything, personal, but what do you think, where do you think they can go? Like, find these angel investors or other entities, that private equities, and there's so many other ways out there, but what do you think? What are your thoughts on what works?
Find the real in-person events and make sure that you're signing yourself up. That would be business plan competitions. It would be tech conferences or whatever kind of conferences where investors go. Okay. The VCs, if they are there, you need to be there. Not because you need a VC or because a VC will want to invest in your business. Those VCs, though, they know the other angels that invest, because the angels invest before the VCs get involved. And so they know each other. Once you get one angel to at least talk to you, you can't stop there. And you have to ask them, who are the other angels that like to invest in early stage stuff? Wow. We start to know each other. Okay. And the early, there's what's called pre-seed and seed investors. They know who the early stage investors are, the angel investors, and you need to go and network into them. And those real in-person events are a great way to do that. You can just go to LinkedIn too. I'm surprised how few people actually reach out to me asking for help when I am promoting that I, as someone who has built a 9-figure business, I'm promoting that I've done that and I want to help other entrepreneurs. I'm surprised how infrequently someone comes to me with a, a fair opportunity for me to help them.
Yeah.
And when I say a fair opportunity for me to help them, I mean, yes, people will come to me and just say, hey, I want you to invest in my business. I don't know them from Adam. They have no business plan.
Yeah.
They have no website, and I'm not going to invest in them, and I don't need to give them my time.
Yeah.
But if you come to me and you're like, hey, I built a business. I've been working to get traction. I have this product. I got this first customer. I have this social media account you can check out. Okay, now you've shown me that you've put time, money, and energy into this. And if I'm going to give you of my time, money, and energy to help you, you better have done your part to help yourself first.
Like
and so that outreach though on LinkedIn is really important.
Yeah. People say sometimes, like as a leader, you must cross the bridge in your head before you cross it with your feet. So it's like, you got to cross it first, and then you will attract what you created, kind of thing, right? So thank you for all these nuances about how to find investment. But you got to start with yourself, like you said. And that's how I actually reconnected with you again through LinkedIn. And it's, yeah, I would hope more people that, have that vision and, like-minded thinking can actually reach out to you, Stu, because you have a lot to offer. We're winding down our interview here, and it's been great. For those of you who has not subscribed yet to this channel, please do so, because with your subscription is how we can get people like Stuart Draper and other nine figures to be here with us and to share their ideas and how we can make this world a more unified and peaceful place to be. Stuart, something very personal I'm going to ask you. I've seen you do this thing, like we post a lot of things, sometimes people are like, but that wig thing that you've been doing, I don't know where you come up with that.
Yes.
Why?
So
What's going on?
Folks, my name is Stuart Draper. I go by Stu, and I got sick and tired of being bald. And I've tried to be the type of person that says, I don't have to be okay with something that I'm not satisfied with in life. If I want to be different, I need to be the one that takes ownership and tries to make a change. So, I had just dealt with being bald and I didn't know there were other solutions. I looked into hair transplants, not a solution for me. Then I had a friend say, hey, look at this person that has a toupee. The toupee technology has actually come really far. It's gotten a lot better. This is not my favorite toupee I've ever had, but every 6 or 7 weeks I get a new one, and it's something that is silly. So I've had fun. You can't remember me as bald, see me with hair, and not be a little like, whoa, taken aback by that. So I just own it.
At first, that was a joke, right? Because I've seen you doing this, and then you just like I'm asking you in this conference, in this interview, because I know you really open about it, and I was like, Stu, I could not be able to do something like it takes a startup mindset to do this to themselves. You know what I mean? And it's who you are, man. It's like you have no fear, no worries. You just yourself. And that's why I and many other people, that's why we love you, Stu. We love you, we admire you, and thank you for bringing that smile to the world. And thank you for just being yourself and helping us to understand what it means to be ourselves and how we can impact our people, giving them some smile in their faces and reaching their goals. Stu, before we end, my last question to you is, let's say today is the last day of our lives.
Yes.
What would you say would be your legacy through all that you do and who you are? What would be your legacy for the next generation of leaders and humans overall out there?
Well, the message I would share is include God in everything you do, because it won't matter how much money you've made when you get to the end of this life. You can have a lot of fun and do a lot of good with money, but no matter what amount of success you've had financially, if you don't include God in that and then you go meet him someday, I think I want to be the type of person that looks back on my life and goes, I created business. I created opportunity. I created jobs. And I did that because I was created by a master creator who helped me learn how to create on a much smaller scale than him things that have been successful.
Wow.
And so I hope to motivate others to do the same. And if my life ends and people want to say, oh, he was a really successful businessman, great. But I hope they say, and a man of God who loved his family.
Amen.
That they would never just say successful businessman. So, yeah, Hugo, thank you so much for having me on your show today.
Thank you so much, Stu. And how do people find you besides LinkedIn? You on LinkedIn as Stuart Draper, right?
Yeah, Stuart Draper on LinkedIn.
Yeah, if you want to find Stu, go to Stu Draper on LinkedIn. This man has been not only creating great startup business and growing them and expanding them internationally, but above all, he's been impacting people like me to become a better man, a better father, and a better business person. So, Stu, thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you soon again.
Yeah, so glad to do it. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.